I never believed in ghosts. Not the cinematic kind, not the ancient demon hiding in mirrors, not the shadow standing behind you when you switch off the lights. I believed in stress, in lack of sleep, in imagination filling in dark corners. That was before the night the pencil moved. It was late October 2023, the kind of Midwest night where the sky feels lower than it should be, swollen with rain. The air outside Emily's apartment was thick and metallic, like a storm waiting to break something. She lived alone on the second floor of an old brick building outside Columbus. Thin walls, narrow hallways, the kind of place where you could hear your neighbor sneeze through drywall. We were on Discord that night. Camera on, laughing, bored. She had found some old trend online, the Charlie Charlie Challenge. 2 pencils, a piece of paper, yes at the top, no at the bottom. You balance one pencil on top of the other and ask a question. I remember rolling my eyes. This is middle school stuff. She smiled, leaning closer to the camera. Her hair fell over one shoulder. The desk lamp behind her cast a warm halo around her face, but the rest of her bedroom was dark. Too dark. It's just for fun, Josh. Those were the last normal words I remember her saying. She placed the paper on her desk carefully. I watched her hands, both visible, no tricks, no magnets, no strings. Outside her window, rain tapped gently against the glass. The sound was rhythmic, comforting. Charlie, are you here? Nothing happened. She laughed softly. See? Shocking, I muttered. She leaned in again, closer this time. Charlie, are you here? For a second, the room behind her felt heavier, like the darkness had thickened. Then the top pencil trembled, not violently, not dramatically. It trembled the way a breath makes a flame flicker. My smile faded. The pencil rotated. Slowly, deliberately, stopping on yes. My stomach tightened in a way I couldn't explain. Did you move it? I asked immediately. Her hand shot up into frame. I swear I didn't. Thunder cracked somewhere in the distance. The rain intensified. The desk lamp flickered once, just once. Ask something else, I said. Something stupid. She nodded, eyes bright. Charlie, are you a good spirit? The pencil moved faster this time. No. The air in her room seemed to darken around the edges of the frame. I forced a laugh. Okay, dramatic. She swallowed. Charlie, are you evil? The pencil rotated again. Yes. The thunder hit again. Closer now. For a split second, the camera glitched, and in that glitch, I thought I saw something behind her. Something tall, but the image snapped back before I could be sure. She didn't notice. Or if she did, she didn't react. Instead, she asked the question that changed everything. Charlie, do you like me? The pencil moved instantly. Yes. Her cheeks flushed red. She giggled nervously. Charlie, do you want me to be your girlfriend? The pencil didn't move. 5 seconds passed. 10. I relaxed slightly, then the pencil began to turn, slower than before, as if something heavy was guiding it. It stopped on no. She pouted dramatically. Wow, rejected by a ghost. I laughed again, relieved. Then she asked again. Charlie, do you want me to be your girlfriend? The rain outside stopped. Not gradually, instantly. Like someone had pressed mute on the sky, the pencil began to rotate. But this time, it didn't glide. It dragged, the tip scraping against paper, leaving a faint groove. A scratching sound came through her microphone, like something sharp pressing down. The pencil stopped on yes, and it pressed harder, digging into the paper, as if something unseen was holding it there. The desk lamp flickered again. The shadows behind her stretched unnaturally along the wall. I felt cold, actual cold, like someone had opened a freezer in my apartment. I whispered. She didn't look at me. She was staring at the paper, smiling, but it wasn't playful anymore. It was devoted, like someone who had just been chosen. The pencil didn't move back to center. It stayed on yes, pressed down, as if it didn't want to let go. "Say goodbye," I said, quickly. "What?" "You're supposed to say goodbye." "End the game." She hesitated, then leaned closer. "Charlie, goodbye." The pencil didn't move. The desk lamp flickered violently, once, twice, then steadied. The pencil remained on yes, and for the first time, she looked over her shoulder, slowly, as if someone had just stepped into the room behind her. "M?" I said. She turned back to the camera. Her smile was smaller now. "He's still here." The way she said it made my chest tighten. "He?" She blinked, like she hadn't realized the word. "Charlie." Another sound came through the mic. Not thunder, not rain. A soft knock. 3 taps. From somewhere inside her apartment. We both heard it. She froze. I leaned closer to my screen. "Was that your neighbor?" She didn't answer. The knock came again. 3 taps. Closer this time, not from the wall, from inside the room. The pencil trembled again, still on yes. Her breathing grew shallow. "He's answering," she whispered. The camera glitched again, longer this time, and in that distortion, I saw it clearly, a silhouette behind her, too tall to be human. Head nearly brushing the ceiling, arms hanging too low, and where its face should have been, darkness, pure, swallowing darkness. The image snapped back, nothing there. Her room looked normal again, but her eyes were different. They weren't scared, they were fascinated, like someone watching fireworks. "Charlie," she whispered softly, almost lovingly. The air around her seemed to shimmer, like heat waves rising off asphalt, but her breath fogged in front of her. The room temperature had dropped. I could see it. "M, turn on the light," I said. "It's already on." The desk lamp flickered again, and for a split second, the shadow behind her leaned forward, closer, watching me. Not her. Me. The pencil slowly rolled off the paper, falling to the desk, but the scratching sound continued, as if something invisible was still carving into the page. She gasped softly, and whispered the words that still echo in my head. "He said yes." I swallowed hard. "You moved it." "No." She looked at the empty air beside her, and smiled. "He said yes to me." The knock came again, but this time, it wasn't in her room. It was in mine. 3 slow taps from my bedroom door. And I realized we hadn't summoned something in her apartment. We had opened something between us. After that night, the air between us changed. Not our relationship, the air itself. It felt heavier during our calls, thicker, like the space between our screens had substance now, something stretching through cables and signals and Wi-Fi, threading its way between our rooms. Emily started closing her bedroom door before we did the game again. I noticed it the second night. She didn't say anything. She just stood up, mid-call, walked off camera, and I heard the slow click of her bedroom door shutting. Then another sound, the deadbolt on her apartment's front door sliding into place. "Why'd you lock it?" I asked. She came back into frame, brushing her hair back behind her ear. "Just in case." "In case of what?" She hesitated. "In case he doesn't like interruptions." A small smile followed the words, but it didn't reach her eyes. The second time we played, the pencil moved before she even finished saying his name. "Charlie, Charlie." Yes. It spun violently, snapping into place as if something had grabbed it. She laughed, startled but thrilled. "He's excited." The desk lamp dimmed slightly. I could see goosebumps rising on her arms. "Ask him something," she urged me. I didn't want to, but I also didn't want to look scared. "Charlie," I said slowly, leaning toward my mic, "are you in the room right now?" The pencil didn't hesitate. Yes. Emily's breathing changed, shorter, quicker. She wasn't afraid. She was flattered. "Charlie," she whispered, "where are you?" The pencil trembled. then slowly rotated back and forth between yes and no, not answering, teasing. The lights in her room flickered. Just once. Then twice. Then steadied. Behind her, the darkness in the corner of her room seemed wrong. Not darker, deeper. Like it wasn't just absence of light. It was a place, a space, a depth. "Josh," she whispered without looking at me. "I think he's standing behind me." My throat went dry. "Turn around." She did. Slowly. Nothing there. Just her dresser, her closet, her bed. But the shadow in the corner shifted. I saw it. It stretched slightly along the wall like something adjusting its posture. The camera didn't glitch this time. It didn't need to. It was subtle, almost natural. If you weren't looking for it, you wouldn't notice. But I was looking, and it was watching me back. Over the next week, she stopped asking playful questions. She stopped asking if he liked her. She stopped asking if he was evil. Now she asked things like, "Charlie, can you touch me?" Yes. The first time that happened, I laughed, nervous. Stop." She held her hands out in front of her, palms up. "Charlie, show me." The room went quiet, too quiet. The pencil remained still, but her expression changed. She gasped softly. "What?" I asked sharply. Her shoulders lifted slightly, like something had brushed against her. "Cold," she whispered. My heart pounded. "Stop. Stop playing." "I'm not playing." Her breath fogged again, and this time it wasn't subtle. I could see it clearly in the glow of the desk lamp, a white cloud forming with every exhale. The thermostat on her wall behind her read 71 degrees Fahrenheit. Normal. But her room looked like winter. "Charlie," she said softly, eyes unfocused. "Where are you touching me?" The pencil didn't move. She swallowed. Her voice dropped. "My neck." I stood up from my chair. "Emily, this isn't funny." "I didn't move," she whispered. Her head tilted slightly to the side, as if something unseen was tracing along her throat. The desk lamp flickered violently, and for a split second, something leaned over her shoulder, not fully visible, but present. A darker shape against the dark, its outline jagged. Not smooth, like a shadow should be. More like smoke solidifying into bone. Then it was gone. She exhaled sharply. "He's gentle," she said. That's when I felt fear, not the kind from a horror movie. The kind that crawls under your ribs and squeezes your lungs. "You're not doing this again," I said. Her eyes finally focused on me, and for the first time, there was irritation there. "He doesn't like when you raise your voice." A loud knock slammed against her bedroom door. 3 times. Hard. She didn't jump. She didn't even look at it. "He's jealous," she murmured. The knock came again. Harder. The door shook slightly in its frame. "Who's in your apartment?" I demanded. She smiled. "You don't understand. He doesn't need to use the door." The knocking stopped instantly, and the temperature in her room dropped even further. The glass of water on her desk formed condensation so quickly it looked like it was sweating in fear. "Charlie," she whispered, "are you mad?" "Yes." The pencil slammed into place so violently it rolled off the paper and clattered onto the desk. The desk lamp exploded. Glass shattered across her keyboard. The screen went dark. Her camera feed died. I screamed her name. No response. After 10 seconds, the call reconnected. Her room was darker now, only light coming from her laptop screen. She was still sitting there, completely still, staring past the camera. "He doesn't like you," she said flatly. "Emily, I'm coming over." "No, yes, no," she repeated. Her voice wasn't layered yet, but it was thinner, hollow. "He says you can't come here anymore." My chest tightened. "He doesn't get to decide that." The air in her room seemed to vibrate. A low hum filled my speakers, like feedback from an old radio. Her eyes widened slightly. "You shouldn't challenge him." A faint whisper slipped through my headphones. Not from her mic, not from the game, from the space between. "Stay." It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was intimate, right at my ear. I ripped my headphones off. The whisper continued. Inside the room, behind me. Stay. I spun around. My apartment was empty, but my bedroom door was slightly open. I was sure I had closed it. The darkness beyond it felt thicker, watching, waiting. When I turned back to my screen, Emily was smiling, not at me, at something beside her. He's stronger now, she said softly, and then she leaned her head gently against empty air, as if resting it on someone's shoulder. Her hair lifted slightly, like something invisible had brushed against it. I felt something shift in my apartment at that exact moment, a subtle pressure change, a weight settling into the corner of my room. Something that hadn't been there before, and I understood something I wish I hadn't. We hadn't summoned it to her apartment, we had invited it into ours. Both of them. And it wasn't playing anymore. After that, Emily stopped calling it a game. She stopped laughing when the pencil moved. She stopped explaining things away. It became routine, like brushing teeth, like locking the door, like checking the stove twice before bed. Every night around the same time, she would text me. He's here. And even if I didn't respond, even if I tried to ignore it, she would still go on Discord. Camera on, candles lit, pencils balanced, paper ready, like she was preparing a table for dinner. It was always the same setup. Yes at the top, no at the bottom. But the paper got messier, not because of her handwriting, because of the scratches, thin grooves, little punctures, lines like someone had dragged a needle across the page while she slept. Sometimes she would hold the paper up to the camera and laugh softly, like it was cute. Look, she'd say. He's impatient. I didn't know how to tell her that the scratches looked like nails. I didn't know how to tell her that the marks were starting to form patterns, curves, and angles that almost looked like letters if you stared too long. I didn't know how to tell her that every time she said his name, the light in my room dimmed by half a shade. Like my apartment was listening too. So I stayed. I watched. I tried to keep her talking to me because as long as she was talking to me, maybe she wasn't talking to him, but she was. She always was. By mid-November, she stopped asking yes or no questions out loud. She would stare at the pencil, and her lips would move silently, and then the pencil would answer anyway. Like they had developed a private language I couldn't hear. One night I finally snapped. "What are you saying?" I demanded. Emily blinked like she'd forgotten I existed. "What? You're not even speaking, you're just staring. What are you asking him?" She smiled with sleepy affection. The way she used to smile at me when I'd get jealous of her coworkers or annoyed at her friends. Like my feelings were something small and sweet and harmless. "He doesn't like being interrogated," she said. "I'm not interrogating him, I'm asking you." Her eyes shifted slightly to the left of the camera, not toward the screen, past it, into the room, like someone had stepped closer. Then she spoke in a softer voice. "Charlie, is Josh upset?" The pencil moved. "Yes." She shrugged gently. "See?" I felt heat rise in my face. "Emily, stop doing that. Stop treating me like I'm the problem." The desk lamp behind her flickered. The candle flames bent sideways for a second as if someone had walked through the air between them. Emily didn't react, but her shoulders relaxed the way people relax when a hand touches their back. "He doesn't like your tone," she whispered. "Tell him to get over it." Emily's smile disappeared, and then something happened that I still can't explain without feeling my stomach flip. The pencil moved, without her asking anything. It rotated slowly to no. Emily stared at it. Her throat bobbed as she swallowed. "He says, you don't get to tell him what to do." My apartment went cold. It wasn't dramatic, not at first. It was just a subtle drop, like the heater had shut off. But then my breath showed faintly, a thin fog drifting from my mouth, and the hairs on my arms lifted. I looked over my shoulder at the corner of my bedroom. Nothing, but the darkness there looked deeper than the rest of the room, like a stain, and for a split second I could swear it leaned, listening. Emily's camera glitched. A smear of gray static rolled across the screen. When the image stabilized, she wasn't looking at me anymore. She was looking at the corner behind her bed, smiling softly, as if someone had just told her a secret. "You're being rude," she whispered to the corner. "He's just scared." I felt my throat tighten. "Who are you talking to?" She blinked again, like waking up. "You." "No. Just now." "You weren't talking to me." Emily tilted her head. "Josh, why can't you just let me be happy?" Happy. That word didn't belong in her room anymore. Not with the candles and the scratches and the flickering lights and the way her voice softened whenever she said his name like it was a prayer. "What happens when you stop playing?" I asked quietly. She didn't answer. "What happens if you skip a night?" Emily's gaze drifted again to that same invisible point beside the camera. Then she whispered, almost too quietly to hear, "He gets lonely." My skin crawled. "And what does he do when he's lonely?" Her lips parted. She hesitated. Then she said the truth, like it was normal. "He knocks." The next morning, she sent me a photo. Her bedroom door, at eye level. 3 dark marks on the wood. Not scratches. Not smudges. Dents. Like something had tapped from the inside with knuckles made of stone. Under the photo, she wrote, "I forgot last night. He reminded me." I stared at the picture for a long time, trying to convince myself it was fake, trying to convince myself it was a prank. But I remembered the whisper at my ear. Stay. I remembered the knock on my own door. And I knew it wasn't contained, it wasn't local, it wasn't trapped inside one apartment. It was learning its way around us, like a dog learning the layout of a house, like a predator memorizing the woods. December came, and with it, the first real snow. Emily's texts became less frequent, but more intense. She would disappear for hours, then come back with a single line. "He showed me something. He touched my hair. He stood at the foot of my bed. He watched me sleep. I stopped going to work early. I stopped hanging out with friends. I stopped doing anything that put distance between me and my phone, because I was terrified of missing the message that mattered, the one that said, 'Help,' but it never came, because she didn't think she needed help. She thought she'd been chosen, and the worst part was how quickly that feeling replaced me. She started calling me less. Then she stopped calling me at all, unless I begged. When I did get her on Discord, she looked thinner. Not in a glamorous way, in a consumed way. Her eyes were darker, her lips paler, her skin had that dullness people get when they haven't slept properly in weeks. She'd sit too still, like moving might disturb something in the room. One night I asked, "When was the last time you ate?" Emily frowned, like the question was irrelevant. "I'm fine." "You look sick." She smiled faintly. "He says you worry too much." "Stop, don't say that." She leaned toward the camera slightly. Her voice dropped. "Josh, you don't understand. He learns." "Learns what?" Emily's eyes flicked to the side again. A small tremor ran through her fingers. "He learns words." My stomach tightened. "What do you mean?" "He didn't used to talk," she whispered. "Not like this. He used to just answer." She lifted the paper into view. On it, beneath the yes and no, there were faint scratch marks. Not random. They curved into shapes that almost formed letters. Almost. I couldn't read them, but my brain tried anyway. That's the dangerous thing about the human mind. It wants meaning so badly that it will carve it out of noise. Emily smiled like a proud teacher. "He practices." The candle flame beside her leaned sharply toward something off camera. The pencil trembled on its own, and then, through my headphones, so faint I could have missed it if I blinked, I heard a whisper that wasn't her voice. Not fully. It was layered. Like her voice draped over something deeper. "Josh!" My blood turned cold. Emily's smile widened. "See? He knows you." My heart slammed in my chest. "Emily, that wasn't you." She didn't deny it. She just looked toward the empty air beside her and whispered, affectionate, childish, proud. Good job. That was the month he taught her my name. And once something has your name, it has a handle. Once it can say you, it can point. Once it can point, it can pull. After that whisper, I started seeing things. Not every night, not consistently. Just enough to keep me doubting myself. A shadow that didn't match the lamp. A cold spot that lingered too long near the closet. A faint tapping in the wall that stopped when I held my breath, as if it could hear the sound of my lungs. Sometimes, right before I fell asleep, I'd hear the softest whisper of pencil on paper. Scratch, scratch, scratch. Like someone practicing letters, like someone writing my name again and again until it felt natural in its mouth. And when I'd finally jolt awake and turn on the light, there would be nothing. No paper, no pencil, no proof, just the lingering sense that I wasn't alone, even when I was. That my apartment had gained a second resident. One that didn't pay rent. One that didn't need a key. One that waited quietly in corners, learning the rhythm of my life. On December 23rd, Emily called me unexpectedly. Not Discord. A normal phone call. When I answered, her voice was shaky. "Josh," she whispered. My heart stopped. "Emily, what's wrong?" There was a pause. Not silence. Breathing. Wet. Close. Like someone was holding the phone too. Then Emily spoke again, but her voice sounded further away, like she had turned her head slightly from the receiver. "He wants to talk." I felt cold flood my chest. No. A faint laugh came through the line. Not hers. Not fully. A sound that wasn't amusement so much as recognition, like a lock turning. Then the voice whispered, low, intimate, delighted, right into my ear through the phone. "Soon." The line went dead. I stared at my phone until the screen went dark. That night, I found 3 dents on my own bedroom door, right at eye level, perfectly spaced, as if someone had tested the wood from the outside or the inside. I drove to Emily's apartment the next day. I didn't text first. I didn't call. I just showed up shaking with anger and fear and the kind of love that makes you do stupid things. Her door was unlocked. That was the first bad sign. The second bad sign was the smell. Burnt wax. And something else underneath it. Something sour. Like damp clothes left too long in a washing machine. I stepped inside. Her curtains were drawn tight. Daylight couldn't get in. The apartment looked like a shrine. Candles everywhere. Not just on surfaces, on the floor arranged in a circle. Inside the circle, her desk, paper, pencils, and a second chair pulled out across from hers, placed like someone was expected. I called her name. No answer. I walked slowly toward her bedroom. The hallway to it felt colder with every step, like I was descending underground. My breath fogged in front of my face, and I realized with a spike of panic that the cold was coming from behind the bedroom door. Like winter was trapped in there. I put my hand on the knob. It was freezing. I pushed. The door opened an inch, and something knocked from the other side. 3 taps, right against the wood. Not from inside the room, from inside the door itself, as if something was pressed against it, knuckles at the ready, smiling in the dark. My hand jerked back. Behind me, a candle flame leaned toward the bedroom like it was being pulled. Then, softly, from inside the crack of the door, Emily's voice whispered my name. Not calling, not shouting, whispering like a secret. "Josh, don't!" I froze. My heart hammered. "Emily, are you okay?" Silence. Then a second whisper overlapped hers, deeper, colder, amused. "Open." I backed away. I didn't open the door. I didn't go inside, because in that moment I finally understood what Emily had already learned. It wasn't forcing its way in. It wasn't attacking. It was inviting. It was asking. It was waiting for a yes. And Emily had been saying yes for weeks.